Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 3, Generation 3 of Which Pokemon Would I Share My Lunch With? Today, we're in the wonderful land of Hoenn, and I have a fresh, clean, new tier list because I realized it was kind of hard to see with over 200 Pokemon in the last one. So, I apologize if you really don't want to watch the first two episodes but want to know what my opinions were. I implore you, please go watch. Elsewise, we're in Hoenn, baby. And there's a lot of little guys that would get a bite of my sandwich if I'm going to be completely honest. So let's get into it. Let's start off easy. Trico, he gets lunch. Grovyle would probably take my lunch. I feel like Sceptile would just ignore me. You know, Mega Sceptile, I would probably leave. That he is covered in bombs. Those are bombs. I don't care that they haven't gone off yet. I don't care if he's not hostile. If I see a bomb, I'm leaving. Torchic, he gets lunch. Combuskin might try to take my lunch. He's a little feisty little guy. Blaziken, definitely trying to take my lunch. Blaziken would try to run over, grab my lunch, kick me in the chest, and then run as far away as possible with my lunch. Mega Blaziken, is Mega Blaziken drawn to battle? Because if he's drawn to battle, he would beat the hell out of me. But if he's not, he would just be, I guess, kicking trees, punting dogs over the horizon. I really don't know. Mudkip gets lunch. Marshtomp also gets lunch. Swampert gets a little bit of lunch. Swampert, he's a big frog. I'd love to feed a big frog. Well, he's an axolotl, but that's what was an axolotl if not a frog. Mega Swampert would eat me. I'm high in protein. He would be able to tell that. He would just grab me in one of his giant malformed hands and mash me into his face. Poochyena, dog, gets food. Mightyena, bigger dog, still gets food. I'm allergic to dogs, but these guys are, but they're hyenas. Good news. I'm actually allergic to dogs, so they get so much food. Zigzagoon gets food. Linoon gets a little bit of food. Galarian Zigzagoon, he gets food. Galarian Linoon, he'd try to take my lunch. That's just what he does. No big deal. Wurmple, I'd give Wurmple some of my lettuce. Silcoon and Cascoon, I would probably hang out with. I wouldn't feed them, obviously. They're cocoons, you don't fuck with them, but I would definitely make sure they're comfortable, make sure they're in the shade, make sure they're not vulnerable to predators. Beautifly would get a little sip of my cola. Dustox is a moth. I would probably try to give it a little bit of cola too if I was out at night. If I was having lunch at night, nice moonlight picnic, eating a sandwich, and Dustox came around, I'd give it some of whatever I had. Lotad gets a little bit. I've definitely not interacted with Lombre at all. He freaks me the hell out. Ludicolo, he'd be dancing over by the pond. I'd probably fucking jive with him for a little bit. I wouldn't give him any of my food. I might, if I found an apple, I might give him an apple. C-Dot, I'd pet C-Dot. I'd pick him up. I'd carry him around a little bit. Probably wouldn't feed him. He's an acorn. Doesn't even have a mouth. Nuzleaf is a little guy. I'd try to ignore him. And Shifttree's evil, so I would probably leave. If I saw a forest spirit that looked like this, I'd be like, haha, no, and then I'd leave. Tailo could eat my bread. Swellow could have a little bit of bread. Wingull is just a seagull. I would love to just feed seagulls. Pelipper's a pelican. He would try to take my lunch. Ralts is a little guy. I would give him a little bit of lunch. I would feel guilty giving him all my lunch because you wouldn't feed someone else's kid. But obviously Ralts is a Pokemon, so I'd give him a little bit. But Curly probably in the same boat. You wouldn't feed someone else's kid. Controversial take. This is hard. I don't know what I would do. Because, in the Pokedex states she can create black holes and she can read your emotions. So I kind of would try to ignore her. Because I don't want her to, I don't want to get my mind read, regardless. If I saw Mega Gardevoir, I would just leave. Because that means that someone has a Mega Stone and is out and about. And I want nothing to do with that. Surskit gets lunch. Look at him. What a cutie. Masquerain gives me annoying mosquito vibes, so I'm going to go ahead and try to ignore Masquerain. Shroomus gets lunch. Look at him. Breloom gets a little bit of lunch. Breloom might punch me in the face, but he's still getting a bite of my fucking coleslaw. Slackoff gets lunch. Vigoroth, I would probably actually, I'd have to leave a Vigoroth there. He wouldn't try to, but he would definitely like accidentally beat the shit out of me. I'd have to leave. Slacking, I would just try to ignore because that's what he wants. Nincada, again, I would probably try to ignore. I've seen Cicada Nymphs before. They aren't cute. Ninjask, though, Ninjask gets some of my water. Lemonade, whatever he wants. Shedinja, I would ignore. Whismur. Well, I would leave if Whisper, Loudred, or Exploud was there. They would blow my ears out. I'm very sensitive to loud noises. If any of them were around, I'd be like, I gotta go. Makuhita, I'd give a little bit of food to. He'd probably ask for it. Look at him. He's a little dumpling boy. Hariyama would probably beat me up and take my lunch. Azurill, look at him. Azurill gets lunch. Azurill is the Pokemon definition of puppy dog eyes, except instead of puppy dog eyes, it's puppy dog everything. Not that it is a puppy dog, but it's just so pathetic that you feel like you have to help it out. Nosepass gets lunch. I don't care that it's a rock. It gets whatever it wants. Look at him. He's just a little guy. He's just a little dude. He's a little dude made of rocks. Why wouldn't you give him a little bit of something, you know? Skitty's a cat, gets food. Delcatty's a bigger cat, gets more food. Sableye, Sableye would try to take my wallet. Sableye would try to take my wallet. Mega Sableye would try to keep me away from its wallet, so I would just ignore it. Mawile would try to eat me. Mega Mawile would try to eat me. Aron gets a little bit of food. I feel like Lairon. What is Lairon's personality? Is it like a gruff teenager? Is it a loner? Is it like a handyman? I don't know. I don't know what Lairon's deal is, but I would like, if it walked over to me, I'd give it like a scratch on the carapace, maybe give it a nice little hose down. I don't know. Aggron, I would leave. Mega Aggron would try to kill me. Meditite. Meditite would be meditating. I would offer it a little bit of food, but he's probably doing intermittent fasting, so he probably wouldn't need it. Medicham, same thing. Mega Medicham, I would try to leave because just because he freaks me out. I don't understand what his deal is. Manectric's a dog, so it'd get food, even though it'd probably be trying to bite my fucking ankles off. Manectric, same thing. Manectric gets a little bit of food. Mega Manectric would take my lunch. Not on purpose. He would just be so tired from moving as fast as he does that he would have to go take my lunch. Plusle and Minun would both get a little bit of lunch. They'd approach me at the same time, so I'd have to split my lunch in half and give a little bit to each. Volbeat and Illumise. Volbeat would be a cute little night show at night, and I would be like, yeah, bud, you get a little bit. Illumise, though, gets nothing. Illumise is a stanky little creature that deserves nothing but hate. I don't hate Illumise. Just look at him. Or her. I don't know. Don't care for it. Roselia gets my lunch. Swalot. Gulpin would get a little bit of lunch, but I know he'd want more. Swalot, I would have to leave because Swalot would straight up take my lunch. Gulpin would take my lunch, but I'd willingly give him some. And then, let's be real. If I gave Gulpin a little bit of food, he'd take the rest of it. So both of them would take my lunch. Caravana, fish technique, he gets a little bit of food. Sharpedo, also a fish, gets a little bit of food. He can't exactly take my lunch. He's not in the water. Mega Sharpedo would jump out of the water and kill me just for fun. Wailmer. Wailmer I would interact with. I'd probably give it a little bit of food. If I was on the beach and a Wailord was that close, it would definitely freak me out enough to where I'd be like, I sense the danger in this situation. I have to go. Numel gets a little bit of lunch. Camerupt also gets a little bit of lunch, presuming that they're not actively like pushing out magma. Fun fact: you can walk on a volcano even while it's erupting. Like volcanoes that just dribble, they're perfectly safe to like be around. You see geologists out there with like pickaxes and stuff getting lava samples. Very safe. As long as they're not actively shooting it at me and trying to scald my skin off, they'd both get like an apple or a banana. Mega Camerupt is actively erupting, so I would have to leave. Torkoal. I love Torkoal. I love turtles. I would give him everything. Spoink freaks me out. I'd just ignore Spoink because with my luck, I'd knock the pearl off its head and then it would fall over and die. Grumpig freaks me out. Trapinch would get a little bit of lunch. I Brave would get a little bit of lunch. Flygon would get a little bit of lunch. Cacnea would get all the lunch. Cacturn would try to... I don't know if Cacturn would try to take my lunch or try to beat me up. So I don't know. He's just kind of a weirdo. You know, like if I saw him, I'd be like, I'm in danger. I need to leave. Swablu gets lunch. Altaria gets a little bit of lunch. Mega Altaria, I would definitely pet, but it looks like it doesn't need lunch. I don't know how hot. It's fairy dragon. How dangerous can it really be? Anyway, Zangoose. If Zangoose was there alone, he would try to take my lunch. If Zangoose and a Seviper were there, they'd be fighting each other, and I wouldn't need to worry about it. So I would probably have to. I would either ignore them or try to break up the fight because I do like snakes, and I don't think I care about mongooses. Regardless, they'd probably bite me and I'd die, but whatever. Lunatone and Solrock, I don't know if they eat. They both freak me out, so I just leave them alone. Barbooch, he's a fish. He gets a little bit of lunch. Wishcash, same, gets a little bit of lunch. Corphish, I would give Corphish a little bit of lunch, but Crawdon is a dark type and would be evil, and he would try to take my lunch. Baltoy gets a little bit of lunch. I would definitely try to learn something from Claydol. They look more intelligent than they let on, you know. The fossil Pokemon, Lileep, I don't have any idea what's going on with it. Cradily looks mean. A North, you know, he's a little bug. I'd give a little bug a little bit of food. And Armaldo, kind of the same with Claydol. I'd hang out with him and be like, "What's your deal, bro? I want to learn from you." Feebas is a fish. He gets a little bit of lunch. Milotic, I would like watch mesmerized. You know, it's a beautiful fish. It's an incredible creature. Cast form would be screwing with the weather, so I would just try to ignore it. Hopefully, it doesn't go rain mode and ruin my picnic. Cast form. Kecleon. Kecleon would be invisible. It would try to take my lunch. Shuppet. I feel like Shuppet is a prankster and would try to take my lunch. Banette, I feel like would just be searching for whatever kid threw it out. How exactly you throw out an evolved Pokemon, I don't know. Or wait, maybe Banette came first and then like created Shuppet as an offspring. That's an interesting concept. What came first, the Shuppet or the Banette? Who knows? Mega Banette would try to kill me. She'd try to steal my soul. Same with Duskull and Dusclops. They both try to take my soul. Tropius would get lunch. Tropius can have all the bananas at once. Chingling. No, this is Chimecho. I would ignore Chimecho. It just sounded like a regular wind chime. I feel like I wouldn't even notice that it was around. Absol is a dog. It would get food, and then I would promptly leave because, you know, it spells disaster. And if I saw Mega Absol, I'd just leave no matter what because he's a goth. I would be killing the vibes. Goths and jocks, we famously don't get along. Why not can detonate. I hate him. I would punt him, and then he would punt me back. So I guess it would be safe to ignore him. Snorunt. If it was the winter and Snorunt was out, he would try to take my lunch. I would leave if I saw Glalie. That's just dangerous. And this Glalie has a broken jaw, so it couldn't eat me, but it would kill me. Spheal gets lunch. Celio gets lunch. Walrein, I would have to leave. If I saw a full-grown walrus, I would be like, I'm not safe here. I need to go. Clamperl, I wouldn't interact with it, so I guess I'd ignore Clamperl. He's kind of a freaky little guy, you know. Huntail. Huntail's a fish. He'd get a little bit of food. Gorbis, same story. I'd toss some breadcrumbs or some grapes or raisins into the stream. Let him eat it. Relicanth, same. He's a fish. I'd feed him. Lovedisc. Lovedisc is the bluegill of Pokemon. It's a fish, yeah, but they're all over the place and they don't do anything particularly well. And if you put them in a fish tank, they'd probably eat all your other fish. Bagon would get a little bit of lunch. Yeah, Bagon would get a little bit. Salamence I would ignore. Shieldon I would ignore. Salamence would try to kill me. Mega Salamence also try to kill me. Beldum is allegedly like a supercomputer. I know at least Metang and Metagross are, but like, what is Beldum's just like an arm. I feel like if I would ignore a Beldum, I would leave at a Metang, and a Metagross would leave me alone, so I could just ignore it. Like, you know, a Metang, I'd be like, oh, this is dangerous, but like, A Metagross, I'd be like, okay, he's smart enough to not like actively try to kill me. Mega Metagross. I don't know what his deal is. I'm just gonna assume I would leave. Because all Megas are inherently dangerous. That's like their thing. Regirock. I feel like if I saw any of the Regis, I would leave. Latios. I would interact with it. Probably wouldn't feed it. Mega Latios would probably take my lunch. Latios, same deal. And Mega Latios is the same as... This is the dumbest thing ever, by the way. Megas are cool. There is no reason they needed to both have their own Megas. And there's no reason they need to look the same. Just make one blue and one purple, one red. It would not be that hard. Kyogre. Kyogre is a fish, but it would also cause torrential downpour. I would have to leave to avoid getting flooded. Omega Kyogre. No, Mega Kyogre is the same. It would also just flood the world and just do it faster. Groudon would do the drought. Mega Groudon would do the same thing. Rayquaza. I feel like Rayquaza would try to take my lunch. Is it weird to say that, like, if Rayquaza was just, like, out and about, it would definitely swoop down and try to steal my sandwich? Like, if I had a Subway Sub-Sandaloon sitting on a table in front of me, and I saw Rayquaza, I'd be in awe staring at it, and then faster than I could even react, it would swoop down and take my lunch. Can anyone else picture that? I can picture that vividly. Mega Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza would just try to kill me. Deoxys would try to steal my lunch because he's a mischievous little guy, and he's always trying to get into things he shouldn't. And last but not least, Jirachi. Jirachi would get a little bit of lunch. If Jirachi was awake, I would give it all of its lunch, but since it was asleep, I would leave like a box of raisins next to it, so whenever it did awaken, it could have a little snack. And that's everybody from Hoenn. That is the entire Hoenn Pokedex arranged by how likely I would be to share my lunch with it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in Sinnoh. Oh, I forgot about Spinda. Spinda! Spinda would get a little bit of lunch. I'd have to like pin him down to feed him because he wouldn't be able to, you know, he'd be knocking shit over, he'd be spilling things. I'd have to pin him down in order to feed him. And now, for real, that's everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.